I started my career in marketing as someone who specialized in memes. I remember sitting night after night after night for 6 years of my career just working to make things go viral. And memes were a big part of the process. After video games, hip hop sampling, memes felt like a legitimately new art form residing on the fringes of society, something likely to go mainstream very soon. And that is precisely what happened, and memes took over the world. So much so that the 2014 Indian election and the 2016 American elections were both swung in the favor of the winning parties by the memers. The 2010s was an era which was witnessing a Wild West like exploration of cultural sensibilities, and memers were the actual explorers. They were the icebergs and experts with long newspaper columns, they were the Titanic. That's a Casey Neistat reference, by the way. The 2010s, well, anything a New York Times could do, a Memo could do better. While long winded essays felt like monopoly men, memes felt like rock stars. In short, memes were the true counterculture. Cut to 2025. Memes feel a little jaded, and the memers feel like hack jobs who are just pretending to be contrarians. They're just edgelords. So, what really happened? Why did it go from being the coolest possible thing to something that jaded? It's a well known fact that a great meme has two essential components: minimum viable information and high shareability, built upon the substrate of humor. Originally proposed by the evolutionary biologists like Richard Dawkins, the meme has become one of those things that had a very carefree transition from obscurity to popular culture. So, why do memes feel jaded? Well, I've come to understand a thing stops being cool when it gets attached to explicit assembly line production. And this is what seems to have happened to memes. I think Bill Hicks spoke about the government approved rock and roll. What we've had in last 5 years is MBA sponsored humor, and that is not funny one bit. The reasons why memes were used and then exploited by some edge of the culture marketeers was because they could masquerade as funny content on your timeline. And you, the consumer, were happy for once in your life. A sanitized looking plastic family that speaks in cliches was not staring back at you with a fake smile urging you to buy a water purifier. It was a dank meme about a tapeworm that lived in your gut. The moment more process driven iterative type marketing and brand managers caught hold of the trend, half a decade later you almost had started to expect meme formats being repeated ad nauseum. And humor dies when surprise calls in sick. Culture gets made at the edge of societies, it gets propagated by those in the middle to those who are at the very dead center. Memes have gone away from the domain expertise of the college unemployed pass out into an MBA grad who's trying to game Reddit. Meme pages are usually plagiarism. They're selling their own merchandise, curating memes so that they can do one branded post per every five posts. And it's okay, everybody's got to earn their bread, but it's completely different to how culture gets made. When the alternative becomes everyday, it means something else will become alternative very soon. This happened when hip hop came into the realm of pop. This happened in the 90s when alternative music was replaced by a new metal wave. I believe this is an exciting time for marketers because the old alternative has completely been taken over by what is unfairly referred to as the normies. So, what is this really, really cool thing that I think is going to happen? My bet is on humans and anything that involves humanity, unshadowed by tech graphics. Humanity is not cheap anymore. AI is the one that's being cheap, churning out cheap content. Trying to not game the system is making a comeback. As much as people are talking about outsourcing their thinking to LLMs, memes become easier and easier to produce, but the fringe now is shifting. Since low level information leading to memes is at the dead center of the culture, sincerity and depth are now at the fringe. If you're a marketer, it doesn't pay to know what happened last week, it pays to know what comes next, or more importantly, what's already here but we don't know it yet. The most creative and the coolest people I know right now are getting back to guitars, pianos, old school samplers, notebooks, flashcards, and everything that has like an analog thing attached to it. And the reason for that is a simple word: constraints. I think constraints are going to be cool. Constraints are rare in the digital world. There's an old Hebrew puzzle about this. What did God lack? God lacked imperfection, and so God made humans, and so God was complete. Humans were the imperfection. And if you think about us and our digital creations, What seems to be lacking are constraints. And the moment you introduce constraints, you almost have this godlike ability to make something cool. So constraints are going to be our version of humans, and constraints are going to make things cool. And if I were a marketeer, I'm a brand strategist, not a marketeer right now. So, every time I go and look and start working on an advertising campaign, I look where I can introduce constraints, where I can introduce an extremely human feeling and use that for my creative ideas rather than regenerating slop. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.